Well, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I'm here today because I asked a question in March, and I feel that the question was not answered. I just want members of my riding of North Island Powell River to know that today I'm standing up for over 2,300 RCMP women who between 1974 and 2019 faced terrible sexual assault and abuse and harassment in the RCMP. These brave women came forward and told their stories, and the Merlo Davidson suit came into play, and we now have a decision that allows these women to be compensated for the terrible, violent abuse that they survived. What is sad about this is that Veterans Affairs has seen fit to claw back some of their disability pension. Madam Speaker, I am reminded today of some time that I spent in the Veterans Committee where we are studying, for the first time ever in this place, women veterans. And one of the women veterans who is testifying today talked about having a survivor focus, moving forward in a way that focused on the survivors' realities and making sure that everything was built around supporting them so that they could do better. And I thought, what an important value that we need to look at, not only in the military, not only in the RCMP, but in all of Canada, that when a victim comes forward, they are supported. Madam Speaker, in this ruling, through the Merlo Davidson suit, we see 6 levels of compensation. I really encourage Canadians to look at these 6 levels because it will tell you just how vile the abuse was. And every time you read a different section, you hear and see just what these women lived through. So they have this terrible situation. Some of them, obviously, from 1974, didn't feel that they would be listened to, didn't come forward till much later, finally be acknowledged, and what they see happen is their disability pension is withdrawn from them again. This is abuse. We know that it was incredibly brave for these women to come forward and share their experiences, and by doing so, hopefully make safer the pathway for women RCMP in the future. The justice who gave the report described the women as having to endure shocking levels of violence. These women, they experienced extreme brutality while protecting our country and the government, and now we're seeing that same government deny them what they are rightfully owed. VAC is literally making these women who served this country suffer all over again, and the minister needs to make it right. Now, I've heard commitments that a letter would be sent and the clawbacks would stop. But I'm going to come back to what I said in the beginning. If this was survivor focused, this wouldn't have happened in the first place. If we had a culture in these organizations, including this one, this would not have happened, and these women would have been supported and given what they need, and we would not have seen VAC abuse them again. So what I want to know today, Madam Speaker, is when will they return the clawed back dollars? Not just stop the clawback, but get the monies that were taken rightfully from them or wrongfully from them and return it to them appropriately. Women in this country served our country through the RCMP and suffered while they were serving. And that has nothing to do with their disability claims. Will this government make it right?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Veterans Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defence.
Mr. Speaker, thank you to the Honourable Member of North Island Powell River for the question. Signing up to serve with the Canadian flag on your shoulder comes with a risk, but being at risk of sexual misconduct should not be one of them. There is simply no excuse or justification for that. Not in the armed forces, not in the RCMP, not in any workplace. Our government is fully committed to eliminating the workplace violence, harassment, and discrimination in any form. And we recognize the enormous courage it takes for someone to disclose this kind of abuse and fight for justice and accountability. We are aware of the letter published by the Office of the Veterans Ombudsman on February 23rd, 2023, asking the Veteran Affairs review the Merlo Davidson cases and determine if pension reductions have been properly applied, or if not, to issue a corrective payment. For privacy reasons, we cannot comment on individual files. But what I can tell you, Mr. Speaker and Madam Speaker, is that the department has conducted all of the impacted veterans by telephone and via letter to offer them an opportunity to submit additional information regarding their payments so that the payments can be recalculated and corrected as appropriate. We want to be as generous as possible under the legislation. We're also aware, Madam Speaker, of the recommendations made by the OVO. Each impacted veteran has been provided with contact information at VAC and the OVO for support in providing the information needed. We are committed to continuing to work closely with the Ombudsman on this and any other files. Thank you.
Honourable Member for North Island, Powell River.
Well, Madam Speaker, I'm fairly disappointed with that response because we know that these women have suffered. We know that they have had their pensions clawed back, and now what we're saying to them, after all the indignity that you experienced just by serving your country, now you have to do all the work on the other side to get what was yours in the first place back. And I still don't hear anything that says they're actually going to pay back the money that they have been stealing from these women, in my opinion. So hopefully this member can say something that actually addresses that serious concern.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, as I said before, the women who came forward and disclosed their experiences in Merlo Davidson did so with incredible courage. Our government is committed to ensuring all veterans and members get access to the benefits that they are entitled to. In the case of Merlo Davidson settlement, the minister has told staff to review the OVO's recommendation to ensure that all pension adjustments have been properly applied and that we're being as generous as possible under the legislation. Veterans who have their disability pensions reduced in the Merlo Davidson settlement have been contacted and given the opportunity to submit additional information. Thank you, Madam Speaker.